This chapter is entitled Dhruva Maharaj Returns Home. No, is this it? Is it 5? Yes. Yes, okay. Savaitadaiva pratipaditam giram Daivim parigyata paratma nirnaya Tam bhakti bhavo vyagranada sattvaram Parishutoru shavasang dhruva chiti Savaitadaiva pratipaditam giram Daivim parigyata paratma nirnaya Tam bhakti bhavo vyagrinada sattvaram Parishu toru shavasang dhruva chiti Savaitadaiva pratipaditam giram Daivim parigyata paratma nirnaya Tam bhakti bhavo vyagrinada sattvaram Parishutoru shavasam druvachiti. Others? Anyone? Savaitadaiva pratipaditam giram Daivim parigyata paratma nirnaya Tam bhakti bhavo vyagranada sattvaram Parishutoru shavasam druvachiti Savaitadaiva pratipaditam giram Daivim parigyata paratma nirnaya Tam bhakti bhavo vyagranada sattvaram Parishutoru shavasam druvachiti Savaitadaiva pratipaditam giram Daivim parigyata paratma nirnaya Bhavo vyagranada sattvaram Parishutoru shavasam druvachiti. Maybe you want to try it? Savaitadaiva pratipaditam giram Daivim parigyata paratma nirnaya Tam bhakti bhavo vyagranada sattvaram Parishutoru shavasam druvachiti. Synonyms. Saha Dhruva Maharaj. Vai, certainly. Tada, at that time. Eva, just. Pratipaditam, having attained Giram, speech, Daivim, transcendental, Parigyata, understood, Para-atma, of the Supreme Soul, Nirnayaha, the conclusion, Tam, to the Lord, Bhakti Bhavaha, situated in devotional service, Abhyagranat, offered prayers, Asatvaram, without any hasty conclusion, Parisruta, widely known, Urush Havasam, whose fame, Dhruva Shitihi, Dhruva, whose planet would not be annihilated. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. At that time, Dhruva Maharaj became perfectly aware of the Vedic conclusion and understood the absolute truth and his relationship with all living entities. In accordance with the line of devotional service to the Supreme Lord, whose fame is widespread, Dhruva, who in the future would receive a planet which would never be annihilated, even during the time of dissolution, offered his deliberate and conclusive prayers. Purport. There are many important items to be considered in this verse. First of all, the relationship between the absolute truth and the relative material and spiritual energies is here understood by a student who has complete knowledge of the Vedic literature. Dhruva Maharaj never went to any school or academic teacher to learn the Vedic conclusion. But because of his devotional service to the Lord, as soon as the Lord appeared and touched his forehead with his conch shell, automatically the entire Vedic conclusion was revealed to him. That is the process of understanding Vedic literature. One cannot understand it simply by academic learning. The Vedas indicate that only to one who has unflinching faith in the Supreme Lord, as well as in the spiritual master, is the Vedic conclusion revealed. The example of Dhruva Maharaj is that he engaged himself in devotional service to the Lord according to the order of his spiritual master Narada Muni. As a result of his rendering such devotional service with great determination and austerity, the personality of Godhead personally manifested himself before him. Dhruva was only a child. He wanted to offer nice prayers to the Lord, but because he lacked sufficient knowledge, he hesitated. But by the mercy of the Lord, as soon as the Lord's conch shell touched his forehead, he became completely aware of the Vedic conclusion. That conclusion is based on proper understanding of the difference between Jiva and Paramatma, the individual soul and the supersoul. The individual soul is forever a servant of the supersoul, and therefore his relationship with the super soul is to offer service. That is called bhakti yoga or bhakti bhava. Dhruva Maharaj offered his prayers to the Lord not in the way of the impersonalist philosophers, but as a devotee. Therefore, it is clearly said here, bhakti bhava. The only prayers worth offering are those offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose reputation is spread far and wide. Dhruva Maharaj wanted to have the kingdom of his father, but his father refused even to allow him to get on his lap. In order to fulfill his desire, the Lord had already created a planet known as the pole star Dhruvaloka, which was never to be annihilated even at the time of the dissolution of the universe. Dhruva Maharaj attained this perfection not by acting hastily, but by patiently executing the order of his spiritual master. And therefore he became so successful that he saw the Lord face to face. Now, he was further enabled by the causeless mercy of the Lord to offer fitting prayers to the Lord. To glorify or offer prayers unto the Supreme, one needs the Lord's mercy. One cannot write to glorify the Lord unless one is endowed with his causeless mercy. Om Magyana Tamrandasya Gananjana Salkaya Chaktura Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangu Langayate Girim Dadkripa Tamaham Mande Shri Gurum Deenatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. That prayer I just repeated is very appropriate for me right now. Mukam Karoti Vachalam. The dumb, those without voice can speak. Mukam karoti vachalam, pangu langaya te garim. The lame can cross mountains. Jad kripa, if there is the mercy of Guru and Krishna and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, and Vaishnavas. So here you are, all Vaishnavas. Here I am, lame, blind. But with your mercy and the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, maybe I can say something. Something will come. Something will come. I'll try, but please forgive me in advance. So Prabhupada, in his purport, he begins by saying that there are many important items to be considered in this verse. There are many important items. So what are the important items? He says, first of all, the relationship between the absolute truth and the relative material and spiritual energies. So the first thing is, what is the knowledge that Dhruva has received? And the second is how he has received it. So these two are the first topic that we can explore. And before we do that, however, just to make sure that I am addressing any questions from this purport, I'd like to ask those of you who are here, if you have any questions that that are already in your mind from hearing this purport, please share them now. Do we have a microphone? The microphone is not here. Well, first of all, does anyone have a question that, so that in advance I know, so that at the end I'm not caught? Raise your hand. Do anyone have a question based on the purport? Otherwise, we'll continue. Okay. All right. So you're all, I'm sure, hopefully, I can expect that other questions may arise. I have questions. I mean, when I read this purport, many questions started to come into my mind. So keep that in the readiness. But the first topic that Srila Prabhupada says, there are many topics, there's many things to be understood here. And the first one that he addresses is, how do we get knowledge, spiritual knowledge? He makes the very strong point in the beginning of the purport and later on that we can't get it in an academic way. We can't simply open the books and study them, become Sanskrit scholars, and come to any actual understanding. He doesn't quote the verse, but he refers to a famous verse from the Svetasvatara Upanishad, Yasya deve para bhaktir yatha deve tata guru tasyaite kyatita yarta prakashante mahatmana. That it's only those great souls who have, and Prabhupada uses the term, implicit faith. The Sanskrit term para bhakti, that only those Mahatma, those great souls who have implicit faith both in Krishna, in God, and Guru, it's to them, prakashante, that the import, the artha of the Vedas is revealed. So we see very clearly how in academic institutions, those who can be studying even the Bhagavatam, or especially the Bhagavad Gita, the Vedas, the Puranas, but because they have no faith. They have no faith in Krishna, the topic, the subject of these works, nor do they have any connection even with the gurus, the parampara. They don't even have a connection with these, what to speak of having faith. Therefore, Krishna says in the beginning, Tadviti pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. He says that one has to approach a devotee, a spiritual master, a tattvadarshi, someone who has seen, who has realized these truths, who is that Mahatma who has faith in his Guru, faith in the Lord, and to whom the knowledge has been revealed. Now, Dhruva Maharaj had such faith. He had such steadfast, determined, single-minded faith in the words of his spiritual master, Narada Muni. He had no doubt. He said, "You have given me a path. You've given me instruction. I will follow this rigidly with full enthusiasm. Now, later in the purport, Prabhupada says, but not hastily. This is interesting that Prabhupada gives this reflection on how Dhruva Maharaj, though a small boy, though only, a child, generally is quite impatient. Children are known for their impatience. I don't know how many of you have this experience, but my wife and I certainly have. On a long journey, then what's the word that comes up every? When are we going to get there? When are we going to get there? When will we get there? So, Dhruva Maharaj didn't think like that. Okay, yes, I've started, I've begun this path. He wasn't thinking, when will it happen? When will it come? When will it? He wasn't feeling anxious and impatient. He was determined, Dhruva. He was simply determined and confident. Srila Rupa Goswami gives us 6 principles for success in bhakti. Utsaha, enthusiasm, utsaha, nishchaya, dharyat. So these 3 go together. There's utsaha, there's enthusiasm, there's nishchaya, there's confidence, but then there's dharya, there's patience. Tat karma pravartana. Sangha tyaga. Sato vrite. So those also go together. Sangha tyaga and sato vrite. And tat karma pravartana. All those 3, they go together. So the first 3 come together, the second 3 come together. Because it's having confidence that gives patience. Prabhupada describes that in his purport, that because he says, he gives the example of a newly married woman wants a child, but doesn't think, I'm going to have the child tomorrow. But she knows, she's confident that through the married life, generally speaking, of course, sometimes doesn't happen, but generally speaking, a child will be conceived, and in time, the child will be born. So the patience is based on this confidence in the process. So Dhruva Maharaj was confident in the words. He had full faith, implicit faith in the words of his spiritual master. He had implicit faith in the Supreme Lord, who he was worshiping. That was his meditation, his devotional service was to meditate, to sit down and simply think of the Lord, meditate on the Lord in his heart. And he, through his, and practice austerity. That was his service. And through that service, he was able to have darshan within. But he didn't know much of the Vedas. He hadn't studied the Vedas. He hadn't memorized various prayers and hymns. He hadn't gone to the Gurukula and learned so many things. He didn't have all of this. So when the Lord actually appears, then he feels, I have to offer some prayers. This is my Lord has appeared before me. I have to say something. Just to stand there. But what can I say? I don't have the words. And Krishna sees this in Dhruva. He understands Dhruva's predicament. And he simply touches him. He takes his conch shell his conch shell, which dispels ignorance. The sound of the Lord's conch is the sound of victory. It drives away ignorance. And he touched Dhruva, and simply by the touch, miraculously, the words came out, begun to come. And we're going to hear now such wonderful, wonderful words. Eloquent, poetic, filled with meaning. Because along with the power to offer these prayers, the understanding, it wasn't simply, okay, turning a switch or something and feeding today we were talking about, in one meeting we were talking about the days before email. Now, let's see, who here was even alive in the days before email? So before there was email, there was fax. So some of you, I think, may know about fax machines, right? You've heard of fax machines. But how many of you heard of telex? Before fax, there was telex. Now, telex was a machine, a typewriter, that you would you'd type on the typewriter, and by typing, you would create a punched tape, paper tape with holes punched in it. And those of you who've done computer, education, you've probably read about these things. So, and then you'd feed this thing in, and it would go over the wires, and the signal would end up on another telex machine, and that telex machine would type out the message. So, it wasn't like that some paper tape was fed into Dhruva's brain, and then the words started to come out. No, there was realization. He understood. It was revealed. Prakashante, hyartas prakashante, the artha, the meaning, not just the words, but the meaning. That was revealed to him within his heart, and he understood, who am I, who is Krishna, this universe, everything. What is my relationship? And particularly we'll see that his prayers are all focused on his relationship with Krishna. So this process of realization, of receiving knowledge, what does we say Vedic, but we mean knowledge, true knowledge, actual knowledge, through the mercy of Krishna as flowing through his parampara, flowing through the devotees. Here in this case, Krishna personally gave Dhruva the full realization, the darshan of the Vedic conclusions. But for us, it comes through his representatives. It comes through his succession of gurus, devotees, who have received that touch. The first is Brahma. And Brahma, he got the touch. Krishna himself imparted Tene Brahma Hrida Adi Kavaye. He imparted this Vedic knowledge, the real knowledge, within the heart of Brahma. The same way that Dhruva is receiving, Brahma received. Brahma instructs Narada, Narada instructs Vyasadeva, Vyasadeva in under this, there's of course many acharyas, but particularly we point to our Madhva Acharya and the various acharyas, and then we come to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Goswamis, and then the other acharya, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Valadev Vijibhushan, and then Narottam Das, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. So today, in our world today, we're so fortunate that we have the opportunity to connect with Krishna's his kripa shakti, his causeless mercy. He was, out of his mercy to Dhruva, he saw Dhruva's predicament and he simply solved it. Here, take it. We're also in a great predicament. We're in the Kali Yuga. We know nothing, particularly me and those of us who are born in the Western world. We know nothing. We were talking about that in the last class. I was speaking about the familiar and non-familiar. You know, those of you who have grew up in Indian background families or lived in India, you're familiar with Radha and Krishna and Jagannath. These are not totally strange, but for us this is all completely new. So we need the mercy of Guru. But we can only get that by faith. We have to accept that through academic endeavor, through study, through just reading, we won't understand. It's through service and submission that we can actually obtain that realization of the truths that Krishna is giving, the actual truth. Who we are, who is Krishna, what is our relationship with Him, and how we can go home, how we can get out of this material predicament and come back to our original constitutional position as the eternal servants of Krishna. Krishna has given us a mantra. He comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu particularly to give us, like Narada Muni gave Dhruva Maharaj a mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us the Maha Mantra, the greatest mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We chant this mantra with the same spirit as Dhruva, the same determination, the same patience, the same mood. We will achieve the same result. In time, we also will come face to face with our Lord, the Supreme Person. So we'll end here and ask for questions and comments and discussions on this topic. Yes? And now you have to give the mic. Jukal Kishore Prabhu.
Only one question. Thank you for a nice class, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, the question is, before Lord Chaitanya appeared, the mantra was, Hare Krishna mantra was already existing. He only propagated it. But we say, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has brought this mantra from spiritual world, Golokera Premandan Harinam Sankirtan. How do you understand that?
Well, we don't actually. I think you're referring to Golokera Premadan Harinama Sankirtan. That the Harinam Sankirtan comes directly from Goloka. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he has not only given us mantra, the same mantra, because as you said, the mantra, Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, is found in the Vedas. Some people say that it's opposite, that it's, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. And that Mahaprabhu changed the order in order to make it easier for the smartas to accept. But I mean, that's I don't know if that's true or not. I've heard that, but I haven't verified any of that. But we hear that Mahaprabhu, by giving the Maha Mantra to us himself, he imbued this practice with a quality that was not there before. Because he imbued the practice of the Harinam Sankirtan with a quality of prema. We've heard the term of prema kirtan. That he imbued this supreme love into the practice of chanting the holy names of Krishna, of Nam Sankirtan. So it's similar, I feel that it's similar to when we receive during initiation, when a guru, a devotee, gives us chants on our beads and we call it he gives us Harinama initiation, right? But we already we've been chanting for at least 6 months or longer. We know we've got the Maha Mantra. What are we getting? We're getting his connection. We're getting that additional mercy. So it's my understanding that the holy name is all powerful. The Maha Mantra is all powerful. But particularly in Prabhupada, when we hear that Maha Mantra from pure devotees, what to speak of hearing it from God himself? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I've mentioned this in other classes, that I found it very helpful for me. It took a long time. I didn't discover this till maybe 10 years or so ago. Where in Chaitanya's, in the Shastras, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, we don't find the record of Mahaprabhu giving us the Maha Mantra. We hear Krishna, 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 hey. We hear, but we hear the words Maha Mantra. The term Maha Mantra is there in Chaitanya Charitamrita, but it's not spelled out. But in Chaitanya Bhagavat, it's well spelled out how Mahaprabhu, he explicitly says, take this Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. He's giving it. So it's my response, and I would like to hear your response to your question, that the difference is that we're receiving the Maha Mantra from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through his disciplic succession, and it's gathered through that process the strength of our chanting is enhanced. We also know, this is another, that by connecting our chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra with our chanting of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda, by glorifying and chanting the names of Gaura and Nityananda, that also empowers our chanting of the Mahamantra. Chanting the Mahamantra is not we say this every morning, that if we can go on chanting the Mahamantra for lifetime after lifetime after lifetime and not get the result if we're offensive to the name. So to get the power of the Mahamantra fully, we have to get free of offenses. And to get free of offenses, we can serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda. In chanting their names, they're no offense. They can help us. They can give us strength. They can give us the ability to overcome our aham mamadi, to overcome our tendencies to criticize, all the things that we do that are standing in the way of our experience of the full power of the Mahamantra. So that would be my response, but I want to know what your response is.
What I thought was, the Hare Krishna mantra is there in Vedas, but it was buried. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took it out and he added Krishna Prema and reversed it. Kalisandra Upanishad says, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Iti Shodasakam Namnam Kali Kalmashnasanam Natha Paraturupaya Sarvedesh Drishyate. So, there in that verse, if you chant Hare Rama, it will only destroy the effects of Kali Yuga. But there is no love of God. So, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we offer Bhoga to Krishna, after 15 minutes we remove it. When the Bhoga is removed, after 15 minutes it is Prasad. So, now what is there in that food? Mercy is there. So likewise, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Chaitanya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what he did, he added Krishna Prema and he reversed it. And that's why we call him, when we say he is the one who has given this Krishna Prema, Golokera Prem Dhan, he distributed freely. That's what you said, of course. But only question I have for that thought is, Haridas Thakur, they were all chanting Hare Rama? That's the only one question. That's why I asked this question.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch.
No. So this is my opinion. The only question to that opinion is, the devotees, Haridas Thakur, Advaitacharya, they were already present before Lord Chaitanya appeared. So Haridas Thakur was already chanting 192 rounds. So was he chanting Hare Ram? Then one day Lord Chaitanya said, not like that, and
the reversed order. I have that whole thing of reversing the order is a mystery, because we know that Haridas Thakur, Madhavendra Puri, is the root of it. So, what were they chanting? How they were chanting? Some things we don't know. But we do know how Mahaprabhu taught us to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That's there, and we can be very confident of it. So when you find out, let us know. So we have a few more minutes. Any other comments or questions on the? Dustin, you had a question.
Hare Krishna, good morning. Thank you for giving us a class on the Bhagavatam. It just seems like something about devotional service, bhakti yoga, chanting creates a joyfulness about being in this material world full of misery and suffering, it kind of alleviates a lot of problems and causes detachment from the material world. This seems like a contribution of chanting and bhakti yoga.
Yes. Cheto darpana marjanam, bhava mahadavagni nirvapanam. That the Sankirtan, it cleanses the dust on our hearts, and bhava, this material world, mahadavagni, the blazing fire of this material world, nirvapanam, it extinguishes it. So the fire, we're in the world, but by the kirtan, the Sankirtan, we're able to get free of this fire. Jai. Param Vijayate, Shri Krishna Sankirtana. I have one, any other questions? So I have oh yes, Prabhu in the back.
Thank you very much. Pancharatna is your name, I think?
Yeah, Pancharatna Das.
Yeah. I met you back in 1972 at the Brooklyn Temple. I used to take care of the books down the book. You and Ramapada used to bring the book bags down, and I was there just a few weeks, and then I went to Mexico and traveled through Central and South America. We were the first ISKCONs to open up Central and South America, but I used to call you Pancho and Ramapada Roma because I was just there a few weeks and had a hard time. And I do apologize for being so disrespectful.
No,
But in any case, it was so interesting that I didn't know that the that the mantra was being chanted. But as I was listening to you, you were saying that maybe it was chanted backwards. And the thought came in that these mantras are absolute. Om Vasudevaya Namaha, whatever the mantra is that is in the Brahma Samhita or in the authorized mantras in the Vedas. However, as I'm listening, for us, and in this particular time, the pattern that Chaitanya established for us, the Hare Krishna, and so on, it's just the perfect pattern for us in this particular age.
yes.
There's been so many other mantras in the previous yugas, for that matter, that have been, they're absolute. So it doesn't matter, but for our purpose, But in any case, thank you for being here. And I didn't know what happened to you, and I did ask about you, and they told me you were in Mayapur or something. But anyway, here you are. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
It's a pleasure to see you again.
Yes. Thank you. So, thank you, and I do hope that in the spirit of this verse that we Yasya Deve Para Bhakti Tata Deve Tata Guru Tasyaite Kyatata Hayartas Prakashante Mahatma. And we take shelter. We serve Srila Prabhupada, we serve our Sampradaya, we serve Guru. When I was preparing for this class, I was thinking about talking more about the principle of Guru, how Guru, Prabhupada talks about how Guru is one. Guru manifests in so many ways, because why does this work? Why is this formula, why does it work? Yasya Deve Parabhakti, Tara Deve Tata Guru. Why those two come together and create that prakashante? Because they're one, actually. True faith in Krishna and true faith in Guru are together. Because who is Guru? Krishna is the original Guru, And those devotees who represent him, they're guru because they represent Krishna. And Krishna wants his jivas to connect with him through guru in order to become humble servants. To see that it's that Prabhupada uses that term, love me, love, I don't know if Prabhupada uses it, but someone else uses it probably. Love me, love my dog, you've heard that term, right? If we don't respect the children, the servants of the Master, how will the Master be pleased? And it's the Master is directing us, serve my servants. And even he himself says, who am I? Gopi bharta padakamayo dasa 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 anudasa. I'm simply the servant of the servant of the servant of the servants of Krishna. So when we take that faith, that we can connect with Krishna, that Krishna is present, when we have that implicit faith, that Krishna is present and Krishna will be there for us directly through his servants. When we have that faith, if our faith is like the Kanishta faith, God is here in the temple and I can worship God, but devotee, we will never receive. It's only when we accept that the way to God, this is the argument of the Christians, right? The Christian says, Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the light, and no one comes to the Father except by me. So my response to that has always been, yes, he's guru. You can't get to Krishna, you can't get to God directly. You have to go through guru. That's what he means. So let's do it. Hare Krishna, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.